ring culture, from baseball to football to NFL to basketball. Ring culture is a thing. Different people rate different players depending on how many rings they have, but is it really that simple? Yeah, I haven't slept. Terrible night to be honest, but I'm not gonna slack in recording this video. So let's go straight into talking about ring culture. So basketball fan me, football fan me, NFL fan me, or soccer for you Americans. I look around and I say, in football or soccer, what is ring culture? People put Real Madrid players amongst the best of all time because of their ring culture. People put Karim Benzema because of his MVP, but we're talking specifically, he's got 5 Champions Leagues. Danny Carvajal, they talk about him in best right back of all time conversations. I don't think he should be there, but because he has the rings or the Champions Leagues, they put him in that conversation. And I think to an extent you have to, I think we're overplaying ring culture, especially in football today's age. But I think the ring culture we're specifically talking about in football is the Ballon d'Or trophy. Do you think Karim Benzema is a better footballer than Luis Suarez? No, I love Karim Benzema, he's one of my favourite players ever, but no. Is he better than Robert Lewandowski? No, I love Karim Benzema again, but Robert Lewandowski is just better than him. When you're looking at it from that perspective, where now it looks like these players are now being downplayed because Karim Benzema has a Ballon d'Or, it makes you ask and quantify, like, what is a Ballon d'Or worth? How much is a Ballon d'Or worth? A Champions League, we can push that to the side because there's great players in history that haven't won a Champions League. But what is a Ballon d'Or worth? Neymar dos Santos Jr. has not won a Ballon d'Or. Iniesta has not won a Ballon d'Or. Xavi Hernandez has not won a Ballon d'Or. These are some of the greatest players ever, and they haven't got a Ballon d'Or. So it can't be as simple as the Ballon d'Or winners are clearly the best players we've ever seen play football, because the rest of them, everybody else is still pretty good. I think what we often mistake when it comes to ranking players is everybody has their own criteria. But the criteria shouldn't just be whoever has the most Ballon d'Ors. It shouldn't just be whoever has the most goals. It should be an amalgamation of everything. So Cristiano Ronaldo, most goals in history. 4 Ballon d'Ors, I think. 4. 5 Champions League trophies. Great resume. Lionel Messi, 8 Ballon d'Ors, 4 Champions Leagues, even though one of them he was basically a kid. He's up there when it comes to all-time goals and a World Cup trophy. When you take an amalgamation of everything, including play style, including watching them play, I think you end up knowing who the greatest players ever are. Like, I think Karim Benzema and Luis Suarez, or Karim Benzema and Neymar Jr., you look at everything else aside from it, not just his trophies, not just his Ballon d'Or, you look at everything else, and it becomes pretty clear that Karim Benzema is not better than Neymar. It becomes pretty clear that he's not better than Luis Suarez or Lewandowski. But I think it's a lot more difficult when you get to a sport like basketball, because rings mean a lot more in basketball. There's a lot of players that haven't won a ring, like a lot. But the best players are the best players on championship winning teams. It's how it is. I mean, you can talk about LeBron not having as many as he should, but he still has 4 rings. Michael Jordan has 6 rings. These are some of the greatest players ever. You've got Kareem has rings. You've got Magic Johnson has rings. Larry Bird has rings. Kobe Bryant has rings. Giannis has a ring. Jokic has a ring. Steph Curry has 4 rings. The best players ever get the chips. And so I think it's a lot different in basketball when we talk about ring culture, because ring culture is a lot more prevalent in basketball. You see it like in your face. They argue Michael Jordan's better than LeBron because of his ring culture, because he has 6 rings. And I think, once again, it's one of those things where we have to take into account everything. A lot of the people look around and go, is it rings or is it something else? Because you have to pick your criteria. But it's not because people say, so-and-so has more rings than him. Bill Russell has more rings than Michael Jordan. I think ring culture is an important factor, and it's a lot more important than it would have been in football, but it's not the be-all and end-all. What happens is people have to take into account the other things for a Michael Jordan, let's say, putting him above LeBron, where Michael Jordan has the highest points per game average all time, ahead of blood clot Chamberlain. Michael Jordan has a DPOI. See, stuff like not just the rings, but he hasn't lost the finals. not just the rings, but he hasn't got to a game 7 of finals. Having 6 rings and not getting to a game 7 is pretty astonishing, I'll be real. So it's just one of them ones where ring culture is prevalent, but it's not as important. Now the final one, I'll be real, the one where ring culture matters the most is NFL. In NFL, if you don't get rings, you can't be one of the greatest ever. Sorry to say it. The reason we don't have Patrick Mahomes near a guy like Tom Brady, because Tom Brady does it in the Super Bowl, the biggest stage of them all, in NFL at least. So Patrick Mahomes, despite being one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen, isn't there. But at the same time, you look and you're like, is Jalen Hurts better than everybody else in his category? I mean, I'm a Commanders fan, and you say I'm biased, but Jaden McDaniels is in basketball.
But we got Jaden McDaniels.
Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. I put my money on that. I say that with chest. But at the same time, you can't be amongst the greats at all in any capacity, even more so than basketball, without rings. And Tom Brady is the greatest of all time because of his rings. Solely, I hate Tom Brady, but he's the greatest of all time because he does it in the championship games. And it's as simple as that. And I think once we start to understand that you can't just bring ring culture from basketball and put it into football, you can't just bring ring culture from NFL, put it into basketball, because they're different sports and the championship games matter more. There's 7 game series in basketball. In NFL, it's a 1 game series, elimination games, and the Super Bowl is a much bigger game than the NBA Finals, whereas the Champions League is a bigger occasion in general. So where the Super Bowl is one big event, and the Champions League being a long campaign is a lot different than an NFL playoffs or even an NBA playoffs where it takes place over a month. You know, so it's a lot of things to consider, and ring culture is kind of stupid when you think about it in certain sports, but when you actually think about it and consider it, in NFL it's important, in basketball it's a little bit important, and in football it's just part and parcel of everything else. But hey, don't forget to subscribe, and I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Okay.